We are getting very close to the end of this book. Well done for hanging in there. Chapter 59, Monster in Beeld, a monster in view, no doubt referring to the baker. Late in the evening, Zander is sitting there and he's looking through the baker's webcam, waiting to see something. Who could this baker be? Is it Ayla's dad? Okay, like Greg thinks. Is it Thomas Lawson, like Dirk thinks? Is it even someone as inconspicuous as Andre Symington, who is now the boyfriend of Greg's mom? Greg takes a Ritalin late that night and he's scratching around, krap rond, and he searches through Zander's file on Zander's computer. He's still suspicious, right, of Zander and Ayla and wants to make sure that they have nothing to hide. Niks om weg te steek nie. He finds nothing important, okay? So he probably starts trusting Zander and Ayla just a little bit more. Suddenly, things start to happen. Skielik, suddenly, a hand moves in front of the camera. Remember, now they're not just taking screenshots. Greg is now hacked into the computer and he can see a live feed. The hand picks up a phone. He dials a number on the phone. From the background, a woman speaks, some wine. A man antwoordt, yes please. Could you get me something to eat as well, darling? Okay, this is the voice of the evil man, the character that has been haunting us throughout this book, the character that Zander and Greg have been trying to find. Okay, here he is speaking, there's even a woman's voice. Then the face comes closer to the camera and Greg sees the face of the baker. It is finally revealed in the book in chapter 59. Chapter 60. The chapter of this book, the title of this book is called Skietstilstand, and it is a copy, interestingly, of chapter 37, also named Skietstilstand, which means a truce. Let's see how it applies to this chapter. They see this guy's face. His hair is combed back over his head. It's the color of shiny steel. That's not how you spell shiny, is it? Shiny. He has hairy eyebrows. Okay, he has a prominent nose. Alright, and his lips are compressed, saamgeperst. It is not Andrew Symington. It is not Thomas Lawson. It is not Ayla's father. Greg is disappointed. Teleurgesteld. Iets in die man se gesig lyk bekend. But Greg's like, I've seen this guy before. I know him from somewhere. I just can't put my finger on this. Suddenly Zander is there and he gives Greg a massive fright. He's like, oh my word, why are you sneaking up on me like this? Hy skrik hom lam, he gets a fright. And immediately Greg says, I'm so sorry that I suspected Ayla's father and suspected you. Suddenly all suspicion around Ayla's dad and Zander dissipates, goes away, right, because they can now see that this guy is none of their suspects. Greg and Zander maak vrede. They make peace. They say, listen, let's move our egos aside here. There's clearly now we can see the guy's face. We're honing in on the target here. We have to put our differences aside. We have to work together. Dan wys Greg vir Zander die video. He shows him the video of the baker. He says, this is the guy. In the background, sure enough, there's piano music. Okay, I refuse to listen to this stuff on Spotify. I'm not going to search it up. I don't want to poison my mind with the stuff that the baker was listening to when he was doing all these sick kind of experiments and thinking up these sick themes. Okay, it's an old man. And nie een van hulle verdagtes nie. It's not one of their suspects. However, we have met the character before. Okay, I hope you don't know who it is yet. Otherwise, my whole drama here is like a bit spoiled, yeah. Hulle weet nie wat om volgende te doen nie. They're like, okay, now we can see his face. Now what? Xander gaan slaap, maar Greg is steeds wakker. Xander's like, okay, cool, that's his face. That's great. I'm going to bed. Greg's like, no, I'm still up from the Ritalin. I'm going to keep going. So Greg's like, no, man, I've seen this guy before somewhere. I have seen him before. Greg dwaal deur die internet. He wanders through the internet and tries to remember where he's seen this man voorheen. Waar het hy hom voorheen gesien? He goes to the obvious place. He goes through Project Coast again, right? Okay. There's a book there, look. The Secret Covert Networks of Project Coast. There's the South African flag. There's some American themes in there. Alright, obviously some American connections. But fascinating reading. I would love to read this book. I might just read it. And then there's Secrets and Lies about Wouter Basson and his role of chemical and biological warfare in South Africa, a book that I have read. It is absolutely fascinating. If you're absolutely interested in, so remotely interested in South African history and the dark things that the apartheid government was up to, there's one of the evil characters in our history, Wouter Basson. Many would obviously disagree and say he was just a cool guy. I don't know. I'm not so sure. Decide for yourself. Read the book. Read some more. Maybe next year when you're done with matric. Okay. Project Ghost existed for 12 years in apartheid South Africa. It includes, and in this book you can read, there were experiments on animals, chemical and biological warfare research. Now remember, just as a point of interest, in the 1990s, when apartheid was basically over, all these scientists would have gone to America, right? And all other places. I mean, Iraq and Iran was accused of biological warfare and making biological weapons and chemical weapons, and America justified their whole invasion of Iraq based on a chemical weapon of mass destruction that they were making. So it was a big hot topic, and still is. It could mean the end of us all. Some chemical, biological weapon. I mean, we had COVID. We don't know if that thing was made in a lab or not. Okay, we don't know who really marketed or benefited financially from these vaccines that we all went for. Okay, now like COVID's like forgotten, and all the money is forgotten. And in 2 years' time, we find another virus, and we all have to go for shots again. Somebody is making money. Okay, whether the virus is actually manufactured or not, we are not sure. However, programs like this have been in existence for decades. Okay, so with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, die Waarheids- en Versoeningskommissie, where they exposed apartheid political criminals, or where those criminals had a chance to ask for amnesty. Amnesty was a political pardon, or criminal pardon, really, in turn for the full truth. If they told the full truth, then the government would give them amnesty, which means they didn't have to serve prison time or get persecuted for their apartheid political crimes. However, this did not include the scientists. Okay, they didn't make known the scientists' names. They were far too valuable. Okay, so the scientists literally got away with murder. Okay, they didn't directly murder, but they invented, they thought up, they brewed up the poisons and viruses that killed many people. For example, in Project Coast, poison was injected with a needle into bully beef cans, obviously, and then the bully beef cans would get distributed in rural black areas or given to certain people as gifts. They would eat it and die. Okay, poison was hidden in sweets, in mealie pop, in cigarettes. You smoke a cigarette, you drop dead, kind of thing. And if you drop dead, then people just kind of say, well, you shouldn't have been smoking in the first place, so you are dead now. Greg besef die baker is presies die persoon wat so iets betrokke sal wees. He realizes that he's exactly presies the kind of person that would involve in something like this. Greg, in his search now for finding the identity or matching a face to the name of the baker, he reads about Vlakplaas. Vlakplaas is another fascinating area. There's the book, probably the most well-known book, Vlakplaas Apartheid Death Squads, 1979 to 1994. Absolutely horrendous stories that you can read in about Vlakplaas. This is where Eugene de Kock learned his trade. Okay, and one of the methods of torture was to wrap the tube, the inside of a tire, around people's heads, die binneband, and then to versmoor them, to suffocate them. It's a horrible way to die, right? And they often would remove the tube just before the person finally dies, let them get back to life, and then repeat the process, right? So that's torture. That's absolutely horrible. There's the famous story of them torturing people, and then there were bodies on the back, and on the back of the bakkie, and as they were going to go burn the bodies, they had a braai before they had a braai and a few brandies before they buried it was like lunchtime, right? So let's have a braai and some brandies while the bodies are still lying in the back, and then after the braai we'll dispose or burn or get rid of the bodies. Horrible things like that, okay? It all happened in our country, okay? Thank goodness those times are past. Now our biggest problem is crime and corruption. Back then it was political problems, racism, persecution of ideas and thoughts, and politics, basically. Okay, different times, different problems, I guess. Now it's the economy, we're all suffering. Een ander methode was om 'n gasmasker te gebruik. Another method, right, for in Vlakplaas and Project Coast and those kind of projects, they would use a gas mask. They would rub Vaseline over the gas mask so you can't breathe properly, so you're really like struggling to breathe. And then just as you think you kind of got it, they would pump the mask, pomp die masker vol traangas, full of tear gas, and then enjoy breathing. Alright, that's torture. Zander dink weer aan die moordvideo van Zander se pa. Not Zander, Greg dink weer aan die moordvideo. He thinks again about that video, and he doesn't get an answer. Okay, in that night, in his written awakened state, he doesn't get to identify, he doesn't get to match a face to the name. The next morning, right, there's Ayla. She's busy on Zander's phone. She's working on her Freedom House blog. Remember, she works for them. They fight for the rights of internet freedom. And Greg and Zander are sitting by the kitchen table. Now remember who else is in the house. Dirk is also in the house. Okay, and he's like, how's it guys, good morning. Have you made progress? Vordering is progress. Let me just put it in there. Have you made progress with anything? And they're like, yeah, well, cool. We've found the face of the baker, but we don't know who the heck he is. And then Dirk takes one look at the photo and he identifies the baker as Dr. Sebastian Stadler. Can you believe it? Did you guess this? I did not. Okay, I did not see it coming. I did not see it coming. And then suddenly, as he says it, Greg remembers, oh my goodness, this is where I saw the guy, and now I remember. Okay, obviously at that party of Thomas Lawson, where he was invited. Remember that old man that was talking to him outside on the veranda there? That was the baker all along. And then after the party, he followed him to his car, right, to talk to him. Okay, that was him. It was on page 73. Okay, on page 73, he met the baker. So it's that far ago. It's that long ago. And it's well hidden in the book, isn't it? We don't really see that coming. the narrator, the author, whether you want to say it's Fani Viljoen writing the book, okay, obviously it's him, but if it's he deliberately hid it from us. Well written, well concealed. Nobody could really predict that it's Stadler, okay. There were just too many options, really, and too many distractions in the book for us to guess that it was Stadler. Okay, so pretty cool, I think. Okay, so how are they going to find this guy now? Remember, they are there. They're close. They're in the same town, remember? Okay, they saw that church tower. Where is it now? It is... There it is. He's close to this. Okay, so what are they going to do now? How do you find someone, you know what they look like, but how do you find them in a big city? Not a big city, but a complex city. It's on water. It's not really... Okay, anyway, so they're going to use this method, the Taylor Swift method. Okay. Yeah, this Taylor Swift thing really sent me down a rabbit hole on Google. But anyway, I'll tell you about that now. So Greg said that they Stadler ken. He knows Stadler. Well, no, not knows. He's slippery. He said he's a psychologist. Okay. He's a slippery character. Dirk, how does he know him? Okay. Dirk sê hy was jarenlang op die polisie se radar. That's how he's been a suspect in many things for a long time. But the ondersoek, the investigation ended after the dossiers and the evidence went missing. Not surprising for a man like the Baker to cover his tracks on the highest level, right? Daar's nog geen nuus oor plank nie. Okay. Baker probably caught him. He's probably got him. Okay. That's what they're thinking. They decide, okay, the kitchen is now going to change into a war room. They're going to stick like photos and evidence and names and arrows and things on the kitchen walls. They're going to change it into a war room like FBI style. Okay. Like we've seen in the movies. Hulle druk foto's uit van videogrepe en plak dit teen die mure. They print screenshots of the video, grabs of the screenshots, and they stick it on the walls. Greg vertel hulle dat hy die Baker ontmoet het by 'n partytjie. He tells them where he met them with at Thomas Lawson's party. So the Baker is a well-known person to all of these people, well connected. Greg tells them how the Stadler told them how all the people in the party, you remember he told them how this person is connected to that person, is connected to that person, and he said, what about you, Greg? Why are you here? What brings you here? He was uncomfortable. He was basically getting an estimation of Greg's character, I would say. Hulle doen baie navorsing op die donker web en surface web. Hulle plak nog baie prente op. Okay, they do research. They try and find this guy, right? They go and they find out that the Bakers, remember the farm that he grew up on was Uitskot Kraal. Uitskot is a European word. Is it not Dutch? Yeah, I think it's Dutch. For that means worthless. Things you throw away, rubbish, right? The kraal of the rubbish, the house of rubbish. Okay, this was the name of his farm. Okay, so that is like meaningful on a different level. Hy het diere doodgemaak en opgestop. Maar he had this sick fascination with poisoning animals and then taxidermy, stuffing them and putting them all over his house. He studied chemistry, okay, and later he studied medicine. His brother studied the same, but he was different. Okay. Later was hy in die Weermacht, later he was in the military, and in the military hospital, and then special projects, perhaps like Project Coast. Okay, special projects. Hy diere op die plaas vergiftig. Remember that? He poisoned animals on the farm. They don't get an address for the guy. But then Zander has a plan. We're going to make like Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift, the background to this is at one stage she had quite a problem with stalkers, right? So I thought, like, I was Googling Taylor Swift stalker facial technology. This wasn't just one event, right? She had multiple stalkers. So what people would do is they would, before the concert, like play a video on the big screen, but then they would also film the crowd, right? And then quickly process all that film with facial recognition software. Okay, and then go, there's the stalker, and then the police would swoop in and take the guy out. Okay, because obviously she wasn't comfortable or didn't feel safe with this. Stalkers are not cool people, right? They don't have your best interests at heart. They want to harm you, okay, or hurt you. Okay, it's a very weird psychology. Don't try and like understand it. I don't quite get it myself. But anyway, so they're gonna try and see if they can use something similar. Okay, take film, process it through a facial recognition software, and then find and try and identify the baker. So you obviously have photos of a stalker. They had photos of a stalker, and then the program would then match video footage to the photo and say there's the guy. Okay, that's how it works. But how are they going to get videos of the baker in Venice? Venice is big. Okay, so they may have to pick their spot, and they're going to have to find a way to record it. So how did they do this? Let's see. Ooh, it's going to be a long video. Ritueel in die donker, ritual in the dark. Zander verduidelik die plan. They're going to take video grabs of the video that they took on the video cam, right? Dan gebruik hulle sagte ware recognition. It's called recognition with a K like that. You can buy recognition on Amazon. They're not going to buy stuff. The hackers don't buy anything on the internet. They just take it. They're going to use GitHub facial recognition because it's free. Okay. Then they're going to buy a few cell phones. The cell phones are then going to record in strategic places, right? And feed the images, builder images to images to the laptop. And Zander's going to watch the laptop. Okay. Daardie aand droom. So that night, so they've got a plan now, solid plan, pretty solid plan. It's nearly the end of the book, so the plan kind of worked. Okay, daardie aand droom Greg dat hy in die tunnels van Lawson College is. Strange how the brain works. Hey, now you go back to things that have been threatening and disturbing in the past. He dreams back of Lawson College. The baker in the tunnels. Suddenly the baker is also in the tunnels. His hands are bound by wire. Okay, the worst thing to be bound by. Nowadays they use cable ties, which are a lot softer. Back then they just used blowdraad, right? Wire. And Greg dreams that he's getting suffocated with a tube, right? Okay, Zander wakes him up this morning with a pistol, and he's like, "What's going on here? Why are you screaming? You're screaming the house down. What's wrong with you?" Okay, so that kind of sets the tone for the last few chapters of the book. Okay, it's pretty intense from here. Camera work. So now you'll see I have a whole lot of photos here, right? Okay, so these are the places that kind of are the most, based on the cathedral from his window, these are the places that are most likely, that you're most likely to see the baker. If he had to move around outside his house, this is where he would be, right? most likely. So they're taking a chance. This could take days, right? This could take weeks. Who says the baker even leaves his house? Okay. Anyway, hulle besluit op 'n area om die selfone op te stel. They decide on an area to set up the phones. Uit die foto wat hulle geneem het, is die camera hoek reg. They kind of, the camera angle's right. This is likely where he would be. It's very close to that cathedral, San Giorgio Maggiore. Okay. Ella's going to walk around on the St. Marcus Plain. That's this one. Beautiful St. Marcus Plain. The St. Marcus Basilica. It's this one. She's going to walk around there. And the Palazzo no, it's not Zulu, eh? Ducale. It's this one. Okay. Alright. Greg, it makes his home by this place. The Londra Palace Hotel with the monument of Victor Emmanuel II. There, it's absolutely stunning. It's got the canal there, that beautiful monument there of Victor Emmanuel II, the victorious. Okay, and in this picture here is where Greg finally moves to. So late in the day, Greg moves to this place, Ponta della Paglia, that sort of bridge thing there. All right, there's a bit of water there. He still feels guilty about Planck. Just the mention of that builds the tension. He suddenly realized, oh my gosh, where's my last power bank? Because obviously the phones have been recording all day. They're going to run flat. And he decides, no, I'm just going to put the cell phone down. Okay, this is not South Africa. It's not going to get stolen, right? He's going to put the phone down. He's going to keep recording. And he's going to run back to the studio to fetch the other power bank, and let's just continue the footage. It'll take him a few minutes. He'll be back soon. He runs back through the streets, through the people. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't remember it being this far. Anyway, he gets to the studio. In the studio, there is Zander busy monitoring the laptop. Zander's like, what are you doing here? What are you doing? And as they're talking, they both look at the screen and it says match on Zander's computer. So here, this place here, this is where the baker was spotted by this cell phone camera and identified by the software on Zander's computer. Okay, so it is here. So it's called the Ponta della Paglia. Okay, they might ask that. I don't know. Depends on what mood the examiner is in. Anyway, chapter 64, last one for this video. In 'n onwerklike oomblik, in an unreal moment. Like Zander is like, we have to go. He grabs his gun, his pistol. He phones Ayla and Oom Dirk. He says, we found him. The camera is by Ponta della Paglia. Meet us there. Okay. Zander and Greg runs through the streets, struikies, and the people to see where the baker is. When they get there, the cell phone is gone. There's a little stall with a vendor selling stuff. And he looks at them and he says, are you looking for your phone? Greg's like, yeah, did you see the man who took it? The man's like, maybe, but do you want to buy something? Greg's like, no, thank you. I don't want to buy anything. I need my phone right now. The man is stubborn, hardkoppig. And he says, well, if you don't want to buy anything, then I can't help you. Then Zander's like, listen, bud, I'm going to shoot your face off. And he shows him the pistol. Okay? The man is like, okay, cool. He went in that direction, in the richting van, the direction of La Piazza. Die man during on before they leave, he's like, yeah, no, but here. Here's a free hat. Please take this hat. Please take this cap. Let me put it on your head. I'm so sorry. He takes Greg's cap off. He puts this hat on the man's head. You might think this is insignificant. It is not. Okay? Xander en Greg beweeg haastig deur die mense. They move quickly through the people. They try and run after the baker. As they run, they suddenly see a familiar face, a bekende gesig. This guy looks incredibly scared. He has the cell phone in his hands. Who is it? It's Blanc. OMG. Okay. That's where chapter 64 ends. Okay, we're going to make a grand finish to this in the next video. 65, 66, 67, 68, and the last chapter called Format. Okay, so meet me in the next chapter. Let's do this.